Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, their side claims to be able to help more people. But as an average, reasonable person, if you think about the execution of what's going to be happen, it's quite complex, don't you think? They're gonna say, yeah, it's fine. People from urban can go rural, rural can go urban. Oh, you're a woman? All good. We'll give you less things to carry. Oh, you're disabled? You can help in another way. Oh, you're more into art? Maybe you can help in an artsy kind of thing for the dam project. That is to say, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to examine, and the nuance here is on the implementation of such governments, because the end outcome they want is building a successful dam and building a successful highway, because in many instances they partner with private corporations and get funding from maybe international debt or other players. They're also pressured to meet deadlines and be able to not just make a road for the sake of helping poor people or building a dam for the sake of helping poor people. It's about being operationally efficient, and that is the anchor and heart of opposition extension. A few responses to side opening government in general. Number one, they talk about how, oh bro, yeah, we're fine with being exclusionary because most people have families anyway. That is a lie and an assertion. What happens if you're disabled? What if you're mentally compromised? What if you're a solo mother? We cannot assume that all poor people are going to have the means, motivation, and capacity to be beasts of burden to carry out this wide project. Which is why, because of those profit incentives and because they need to meet a deadline, they're likely to skew the characteristics of getting people who are stronger and bigger and faster. That is to say, these vulnerable people are going to be deprioritized. On our comparative, those people can still do what they want and it's easier to send them money. Number two, let's examine the point of information that was raised by my partner, because they were trying to symmetricize the margins and say, oh yeah bro, your side's marginal. Guys, we're talking about dole-outs and job campaigns for people, for the urban poor. On both sides is marginal, but the anchor for our side is going to be the following. We think we can actually have a longer term stability when we grant them the agency to be responsible with their own decisions when these people get money. There are 4 metrics to weigh why opening opposition takes this debate. A, an immediate access to money or a sense of urgency where we can help them faster. B, where it's easier to set these things up, because opening government did not respond to my partner when we said, bro, what if there's no project? What if it's election season, maybe, for example, and most of the funds are going elsewhere? What if it's the rainy season or the winter? You need so many things to go right in order for this mass work campaign to work out. On our side, it's cheaper, easier, and faster to help these people. C, we think on their side, there's more operational complexity for things to ultimately happen. And D, there's less risk of things to be corrupted at the point in which government contracts and other people are not part. Even though I said 5 times in the chat, go my guy, what's the POI? Let's go. Yeah. Faster, yeah.
Okay, so if the money is going to go through multiple levels to get to them, first of all, you don't get the time benefit. Secondly, corruption exists. Thirdly, there are biases. Fourthly, everyone wants free money. What's stopping them from giving this money to their own families?
Bro, on your side, it goes through more hands. On our comparative, we get proof that they're poor, we get receipts that they're using it well, and we literally bank transfer or send them the funds. If your partner's like, oh bro, how will you find them? Oh no. If they really need or want the money, then go to the nearest government, municipality, mayor's office and line up for that particular program. We think on your side, more hands and more people involved increase the risk. Yes, on both sides there's corruption. On your side, that corruption gets fed when it literally becomes easier to do. Thirdly, let's respond to what they said about, yo man, it's fine, we can move them to rural, urban centers, it's all good. That sounds good, but the operational cost and complexity of having to be able to gravitate to where there's a project and move these particular people is operationally expensive. That makes things worse. Fourthly, their side assumes that our side has no jobs. Like what my second point of information suggests, when people get money, Maslow's hierarchy, they can fulfill their needs and they can pursue to do what they want. If they have a dying passion and desire to be a construction worker or a foreman, they can do it. But if they want to be a mother running her own food stall, or she wants to be able to be someone who takes care of her children and sends them to school, money, because it's liquid and it's the best kind of asset as opposed to having this complex incentive structure on your side, is going to necessarily be better. The heart of my extension is going to be about the following. On their side, you box the urban poor into the generalization or the archetype of what they are capable of through manual labor. Because let's vibe it out, right? Especially in poorer nations where this likely happens, what jobs do the poor often get? Laborers, construction workers, very menial kinds of jobs, right? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying that you box them into being a beast of burden or being only solely able for those capacities when you fuel this incentive and perverse structure for that to actually happen in the first place. That is to say, you're likely to restrict them to be able to do their dreams and be an artist. I call BS and say that just because you're poor, you can't dream. On our side, when the government literally is able to feed you, put medicine in your veins, and ultimately give you the comfort you need to not die, that is when creativity can happen and they can develop a sense of agency and not just self-loathe or be at the mercy of the government. Because, and I hope closing answers this, what happens when there's no project or it's done? How are you going to be able to help them? On our side, we can actually have these cash transfer programs to be able to help them with things like budgeting, help them in terms of financial literacy, help them in terms of where they can spend it to allocate this best, when maybe they can open like a small food cart or a food stall, or be able to learn how to budget if they have kids or no kids. There's ultimately more flexibility that we can do, which ultimately is cheaper. Ladies and gentlemen, on our side of the house, we think cash is king. It's liquid, it's transparent, and it's easier to literally be able to give, and it unlocks a sense of urgency and agency among people to take charge of their own life and not be a mercy of the very government and corrupt structure that probably failed them in the first place. We are very proud to stand and win from side opening opposition. Thank you.